Imagine being underwater, but there's a sheet of glass over the top of it. You can see what's on the outside. You see that there's air, but you can't quite get there. You can't breathe. All you can do is struggle, and then it's over. That's what it's like playing against Doublelift.
Looking for the quadra, not gonna get it that time. It's a triple for Doublelift. He's looking for Pearson.
Doublelift's reputation was that he was almost the villain.
I just really like the feeling of shutting people up. You know, someone says, oh, I'm better than you. I'm like, no, you're not.
He was the guy who was trash talking all the time. He was the guy who was saying everyone else is trash.
Everyone else is trash. Right here on the show.
Everyone else is trash.
He's now the most dominant North American player that we have ever seen here. What you'll learn from Doublelift is what it takes to be an amazing AD carry. From laning, team fighting, freezing, fast pushing, diving, everything that he has to consider in every game, and what you have to do to pick that up yourself.
I actually never really realized that I wanted to go pro. I think it just kind of came to me, and I know I'm super blessed, super lucky that that was the case. Basically what happened was at a certain point, I was a top 10 ladder player, and everyone knew who I was. Everyone knew that I was like really mechanically gifted at the game. Dan, Reginald's brother, asked me if I wanted to play on his team, and he's like, yeah, my team, we're gonna be competing in the season 1 world championship. We're gonna be going. I'm like, oh my God, like that's crazy. You know, I'm 17 years old, I'm in senior year of high school, and I got this opportunity to join a team that was like already sort of like in the qualifier. Of course, I was like, I'll do anything to be on your team. You know, I'll show up to any practice like as much as I can, and like I'll do everything. I'll drop everything that I can possibly drop to be on this team. I didn't know that I wanted to be a pro, but I knew I wanted to play in this tournament, and then that just sort of derailed my life into becoming a pro player.
Really gusty. Oh, does say Chester into the wall. John gonna follow up with a tornado, and here comes Dan, and yes, that was a really good play. It was a tumble. Oh, and there comes Salsa around the back.
When I started my pro career, I was essentially mentored by Chowster, and to a degree, all of my teammates, but mostly Chowster. And then eventually it moved on to, I was being mentored by essentially like everybody on my team. And I think having someone who you can bounce ideas off of, having someone who can tell you like this is the right direction and give you a path can accelerate like the way that you improve. So, you know, even in season 1, which is 9 years ago, I felt like I had some mentorship, and it's really important.
Chester, who do you plan on getting as the new AD carry for CLG?
I'll take his place, dude. Oh, I'll take his place for the crew to support, dude.
Yeah, let's just throw that general man.
I think he was really trying to focus on being as good as he possibly could be in this game that made him feel fantastic and something that he was good at.
I originally became a pro player because it was like the only thing I could do because I got kicked out by my parents. All they ever wanted me to do was study and like not play video games. You know, what a waste of time. You know, I was really good in school, but I had 0 life skills, and I was just really good at video games.
I think he was just somebody that really cared about League of Legends. That out of all the people there, he was one of the ones that was just completely in love with the game. Nerdiest, if you will, because if you saw him back then, you would not think twice that this guy was all about computer games.
I think I just grew up playing competitive games. I was like the bullied kid in real life that turned into the bully online. I like bullying people online. Like I like just owning people. I like making them feel bad. Like I like showing them that I'm better. And it's like, you know, if I'm not gonna be like a winner in real life, like I'm gonna be a winner in what I like to do, which is play video games.
He ran away from home and became a pro player, basically sleeping on Travis Gafford's couch to be able to play this game and to put his all into it and to become a pro player.
I've sacrificed a lot in terms of my free time and my choices. You know, early on, there was that huge risk of is esports actually gonna become a thing? And I'm barely like surviving, and I'm giving up this college education and all this stuff. But really, I think I made a good bet because I thought esports was gonna be a huge thing.
So when Doublelift took the risk of going all in on esports, it showed that it was all about passion, because the people who got into esports earlier, it was never about the money. It was always about the play and the competition.
Just dives right on in. Oh, he finds the crescendo, goes in on Psycho Sid, gets knocked back. This could be the kill for Double. He gets one. He need lifesteal Bloodblatter. It's going to be close. He might get two. Go!
You never did it to be famous. You never did it to be somebody. It just happens that way. You do it because you love the game and you love to play. I think people were on the fence about whether or not esports was really truly going to be a thing. There was some semblance of it in Korea, but in terms of North America, there really wasn't a large cultural impact just yet. So dedicating your life to esports is an incredible risk, especially back then. Now people make much more money, they're much more celebrated, there's products, there's large salaries. Back then it was, you have a plastic table and maybe a team house or apartment that somebody's paying for. You're basically playing for free. And it's so hard to be what you can't see. And when there was no real esports professionals that have made an entire living from start to finish off of esports, it's incredibly risky to go all in on esports. I think Doublelift's mindset was trash at the start. I think he was mostly focused on himself. He just wanted to win, he wanted to show off.
Also congratulate you on your 500th regular season kill in 100 games. You're the first player in the North American LCS to do so. How does it feel?
Oh boy, cool. That's awesome. I'm the best. I already knew that.
So humble.
Doublelift's reputation was that he was almost the villain of the LCS. He was the guy who was trash talking all the time. He was the guy who was saying, oh, everyone else is trash.
Everyone else is trash. Right here on the show.
Everyone else is trash.
He would trash talk and then feel more pressured to back up the trash talk in the next game. And so he was just kind of ruining himself.
They're pretty much a bunch of no-names. I don't really respect them. I guess if we get upset, that would be pretty embarrassing. So we're going to take it obviously very seriously, just like we take every match. I just think they're by far the worst team in LCS.
This is really snowballing the wrong way for CLG. Oh my gosh, Doublelift taking so much burst. The knockout from Zyra. Can Nibbles be out? Lifesteal Chowster dodges the hook. Yes, he does. Two kills picked up.
He couldn't always back it up. His play was good, but he wasn't winning anything. So every time he said that, the meme would just be thrown back in his face. And it got to the point where he was no longer the villain, and people started cheering for him, and he was almost like the underdog, where people were like, it's been so long, when is he actually going to win something?
It had been so long for somebody to have been considered the best AD in North America, but to not have any trophies.
Before Madison Square Garden, Doublelift didn't have any trophies. And a large part of that was because he always had something to prove to people. He had to prove that he knew better. And that extended to his life, to his teams, to his teammates, where it just felt like he was always on a team but alone. And that's because he felt like he had to do it by himself. Because of his family life, he felt like he had to be alone, that he wasn't a team player, that he had to do it by himself or else it wasn't a real accomplishment. He's gonna do things for himself because he wants to, not because somebody else is gonna dictate his life for him.
Some people either run away from things or run towards things. I was running away from university. I did not like university, and I definitely enjoyed playing video games instead. And to me, playing video games is a matter of running away from something.
He's running away from a circumstance that just seemed like he wasn't really understood.
When he first joined the scene, you know, he was not living with his family. He was essentially kicked out for playing games. That has to have an impact on your maturity.
I think when Doublelift had Chowster alongside him, he had a mentor. But I think when he worked with Afromoo, he had a family. And he learned how to build something together with someone to the point where it's a shared victory and it's not just your own. Because you get to pick your friends, but you don't get to pick your family. And so when you're put on a team, you don't always get to pick your teammates. But you have to learn how to win together with them. You have to learn how to be better with them. And that concept really clicked in for him after he and Afromoo shared the bottom lane.
Looking for the quadra, not gonna get it that time. It's a triple for Doublelift. He's looking for Bjergsen.
Take the Nexus turrets, and they're going to take a trip to World
To be your 2015 Summer Split champions.
it was just a matter of time. You know, if he was going to be playing for as long as he envisioned it to be, with the results that he was delivering, it was going to happen no matter what. Nobody else was either at that level or putting in that much work. I think that when you have that kind of formula, you can look past the results and just trust in the process, which is kind of a thing that is often spoken about in the world of video games, where if you just trust the process and it's a good process, that trophy case will be filled in the end.
And in playoffs, I believe it was 2018, those playoffs, he had a massive tragedy in his family involving his older brother.
Authorities say before the attack, the 30-year-old got into a fight with his parents Friday night. Yihong's 59-year-old mother, Wei Shen, died at the scene. His father, Gu Zhan, was transported to the hospital. The suspect does remain behind bars here tonight. In the meantime, his younger brother, who's made quite a name for himself in the online gaming world, says that he is joining his family, including his father, who authorities say remains in the hospital recovering from multiple stab wounds.
Is somebody that he looked up to, somebody that he idolized, and a family that, you know, he may have not have been able to apologize to for some of the things, or completely make amends with them. And I remember there's a moment that sticks out to me is on the broadcast team in Miami, we were told, don't ask him any questions about it. He doesn't want to be asked any questions. He doesn't want the story in Miami to be about his family or his tragedy or anything like that. He told us he wanted it to be focused on his team, the competition, and the finals. And for me, that showed me, one, that Doublelift doesn't want this to be about him. He wants this to be about his team. He was a team player. And two, it showed me that no matter what, he is a competitor. That's what Doublelift lives for. Doublelift at his core, at his heart, is a competitor. And I think that's what makes him so damn good.
There was a question about whether or not you even would play. For me, knowing you, that felt crazy, because it seemed like there would just be nothing that would stop you, even this horrendous event, from competing on stage. And so I'm kind of curious, like, did you consider at all just like not being a part of this, or taking these finals off?
No, I'd never considered it for a moment. Like, I remember one of the first things Steve did was like, hey, if you need anything, like if you don't want to play, then that's absolutely like 100% okay. You don't need to feel like indebted or anything. And I was like incredulous, like what do you mean? Like I'm not gonna play? Like why would I not play? And I think as my fans get to know me better, you know, they'll realize that like this is my life, and without competition and without my fans, I would just be a normal person, and I don't want to be a normal person. So
is no matter what, even in just the face of a tragedy, he wanted to keep playing League of Legends. He wanted to keep competing in League of Legends. A lot of people would have taken a break for a tragedy. They would have said, I'm sorry, I have to take some time to recollect myself, I have to take some time away. He said, no, I played League of Legends as an escape in the first place, and the one thing I want to do right now is go on stage, compete, and escape from this.
His family life, which I think is a family life that is out of a movie almost. I mean, this is just an outrageous story that for many people is almost unbelievable to comprehend.
I definitely think Doublelift will go down as one of the greatest players in League of Legends history. I think in terms of love for the game, you have to have love for the game to be where Doublelift is now. In terms of his story, you have to have passion for it.
I think loving the game is actually, you need to love the game to be a pro player. You can't spend 12 hours, 14 hours a day playing something that you hate.
Doublelift's legacy is an eternal fire for competition that never goes out. Every single time he lost, he just came back stronger, more prepared for the next fight, until he won. And that fire is the legacy that he leaves behind. The fire of a champion.
Bye.